Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the conversation series because creators are businesses.
What we do is not simple.
Give, the fans everything that they deserve.
Being creative
is like doing a 5,000 piece puzzle.
Is something that you can learn and do over and over again.
Always be as authentic as I can be.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the conversation series. I am thrilled today to have Mr. Ardie Sameti here. He is the co-founder and CEO of Scala AI. I am thrilled because, one, super passionate about AI, but also super passionate about how AI is changing the world and where this is going. So, Ardie, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you for having me. I'm super excited to be on. Thank you, Danielle.
Yeah. I want to get into you spent years inside really complex organizations before starting Scala. When you look back, what kind of moments as an operator made you realize, this is broken, leaders don't have the clarity they need. We need to kind of fix some things here.
Yeah, great question. I think it really starts with in my past life, we were building something pretty unique and special, which was really personalized healthcare at scale. And as we grew, we started to see, compounding issues at the same time. It wasn't like constant success stories. There was challenges that we were facing. And one of the things that was really clear to me was operators and business leaders, they were forced to make these really big decisions with partial or kind of delayed conflicting information. And this wasn't something that was specific to them or a problem around their effort or, their competence. This was 100%, I think, tied to where there was a lack of intelligence from systems and tools. So it wasn't that these operators were failing, it was just the tools and the systems around them were failing. And I felt that firsthand when I was straddling an operator technologist and working alongside our COO and different business leaders in our organization as we were trying to scale the company. Yeah. And it was clear, Danielle, that folks were operating off of lagging indicators. There was a lot of like damage control, firefighting. Yeah. And for me, it was just like a aha moment to where it was like, okay, there's this is an outdated model, outdated systems. They deserve better. And this is something that we need to be able to fix and really kind of feeling that pain firsthand.
Yeah, and I want to dig into that because really Scala wasn't born out of a fascination with AI, but it was really, as you were just saying, it was born out of a real operating problem. It finally pushed you from hey, someone should fix this to I need to build it myself. How can I go do this myself? Do you remember that moment for you that it was that kind of led you there that you can dig more into for us?
Yeah. It was never in my plans to do a startup. But Scala was really born out of, I would say it was like kind of a bit of a slow burn to where it's like, I always felt I was always, I gravitated to operators, operations, folks that were keeping the lights on, the unsung heroes of the business that, are owning the customer experience, the day to day. These are folks that, Scala is truly like a love letter, a love story to operators. At the end of the day, like these folks are doing really hard work, and they deserve more, they deserve better. And the big moment for me was really over the last year. I, internally at Accolade, when I was at Accolade, I was heading up AI and platform efforts. And so my main job was a lot to just support the business as we grew, deliver an incredible experience to our members, which we're really proud of. We did incredible things, best in class NPS scores, even to this day, that and real clinical outcomes. And we did this with, scaling the business and getting all the P&L metrics where they needed to be. But one thing that was that I constantly saw, and it was kind of like it clicked, is I would go to conferences or speaking events and I would really kind of scan the marketplace because a part of my role was to kind of think through and make decisions or bring to the executive team build versus buy efforts of like, how do we scale our business? What solutions are out there? And I would go to these conferences and I'll talk to other leaders across major companies, different industries, and they were all they were all really feeling the same pain
Yeah.
point. It was universal, where folks are firefighting. It was a lot of defense. There was nothing that was predictive and proactive. There wasn't the comprehensive tool set that had constant context of their business that can, they could truly leverage AI in a way that was meaningful to their business. And so that's, right away, it kind of clicked where I said, all right, I have this calling and I'm compelled in this conviction and obsession around solving these business problems. Um, you know, let's go assemble, one of the most kick-ass teams to go and build something and actually go try to make impact to those operators.
Artie, give me your 60-second elevator pitch for, what Scala is. Like, let everybody know what you guys do. What is it specifically that you're trying to accomplish so people can get a better insight behind the scenes, behind the curtain there?
Yeah. In short, Danielle, we're building the future of intelligent operations and customer experience for the modern contact center. So think of, the enterprise the contact center enterprise. This is the place that is owning the experience end to end, from, operations day to day all the way to the end user experience. And so, for us, in that Scala, we're taking a very unique, differentiated approach that we, ultimately want to be the comprehensive AI platform for contact centers that can give world-class operators clarity, insights, and most importantly, the ability to act with precision at scale. We don't want it to be a noisy system and have these, fun features and capabilities that are flashy. It actually needs to be able to drive real business outcomes and give control to operators.
Yeah. I think of myself as an operator in my role because I'm very much in these dashboards. I'm very much looking at data and metrics and how does that influence the decisions that we make and the things that, have to change for us in terms of social and how we speak and how we do and all these things. Today, there are so many leaders that, are drowning in dashboards. There's so many platforms out there today. We have dashboards, reports, and tools, and all these fancy things and bells and whistles. Yet many people still feel, less confident in their decisions. Why do you think more data has actually created more confusion for operators today than having that clarity now that we've got all these bells and whistles and fancy tools?
Well said. I feel like you're in these conversations with me with our customers and folks that we're talking in the market. You hit it on the nail. I mean, having lots of data isn't the same as having insights. Those are like two different things. And so data can just really translate to noise. And it's just like, and it's noisy, like if you've ever spent time in a contact center or if you've been in the heart of a business where they're making decisions every day, what they need is they don't need more data. They need, the ability to have aligned context and clear signals of what's going on. They need to make decisions that are really specific to, where there's opportunities, high fidelity, making sure that they have a deep understanding of, what's impacting their business, things that are very clear. And so I think sometimes people fall in love with like, I'm going to create a dashboard and reporting and I'm going to pull this and that and, all these other things. And they've just spent so much time chasing down data and wrangling data and trying to make sense of it when the reality is, there's companies like ours where, less is more. And, we want to build a intuitive, platform and really making sure that business leaders we surface up the right things to them, and they're able to make decisions and they only have a specific amount of time and attention throughout the day. And it should be on things that really matter and move the needle. So yeah, I mean, it's a little bit more, there's more underneath the hood in terms of how we think about our own proprietary machine learning and agentic reasoning engine of how we, bring all that metadata together, make sense of it, and then surface it up in a way that's consumable, that they can actually react, and be able to be proactive in their business. But yeah, you're absolutely right. Like more data doesn't mean, it means better. You're gonna have more success. As a matter of fact, I tend to agree with you. It's actually quite the opposite.
Yeah. I want to just hit on that too. And as you're talking with people and in these conversations, like, are you seeing and hearing, like, where does making kind of break down the most often when you are in these dashboards or when people are looking through these things? Have you heard any kind of similarities between people and where that decision making is breaking down?
Yeah, I mean, you could think about it this way, like the more data you have, the more dashboards you have, it's more just cognitive load
Yeah.
on leaders. And so, that's it, you just have more things to factor in. Typically what's happening now, what you're seeing is you're seeing all these different systems that folks are either building themselves or investing in, and they all have their own AI roadmaps. They're all kind of barking at you. They're not connected. They're definitely in no way, at times they're actually saying different things, which can be incredibly frustrating. And so uh, at the end of the day, AI should really, it's a tool, right? Like it's a powerful tool,
Yeah.
and it only works if it's really reducing the cognitive load. It's not replacing judgment. It's actually allowing you to be in control, and so that you could make decisions with, high confidence, and you're able to leverage it in a way that's kind of simplifying and the complexities, and it's highlighting some of the trade-offs and the big decisions you need to make. And
Yeah.
so, um, yeah, it's tricky. I'm making it seem like it's easy, but it's something that you have to build as a muscle in your organization, and obviously you have to have the right partnerships like Scala and technology that's built in a way that's kind of bringing some of that noise down and allowing you to focus on the things that matter.
And I want to hop to this real quick because I think I'm super aligned with you on this, that you've been very clear that AI shouldn't replace people, which I applaud you in saying that. And I think everybody's kind of getting lost in the things here of, oh, AI is going to take your job, AI is going to take this, when I think it's really a tool that kind of better helps you enhance your role, helps you go in different directions. But you've been very clear that it should help leaders lead better. How do you personally define the right role AI should be playing inside an operation today?
Yeah, you're right. Like for me, I think this is a really incredible moment for companies, organizations, individuals to level themselves up. This doesn't mean like they're replaced and all of a sudden there's this existential threat. Not at all. Especially how the way we're building our product and our platform, it's done in a way to where it can elevate folks out of the mundane administrative tasks. It could, every single company, Danielle, and this, has their own supply chain and has their own value chain. From like a level one, what is more transactional, to like high value, to your end user, to your customer, to your member, whoever it is. And ideally, you want your human effort paired up with high complexity, high value. And they want to be working on that. Nobody wants to be working on kind of the monotonous, like, repetitive things. And so that's where there's this sweet spot of this intersection of pulling together AI and human expertise and doing it in a way that's really thoughtful, around your business. And, I think, it's difficult because it's a little bit, like I said before, where you have to build this muscle. You also have to really kind of be focused on, okay, do I understand my supply chain really well?
Yeah.
Am I going to be willing to evolve my service delivery blueprint? And the one thing not to do is don't just go buy a bunch of AI and try to like adopt and utilize it. You have to really understand how you're presenting it to your team, what the expectations are. It's a opportunity to kind of retrain, uplift, level up, everybody in the organization and the end experience of what you're actually delivering. So I see it all as net positive, net benefit, if done right with the right partners, versus it being this thing that, you're just kind of forcing and pushing, and it's disconnected, to the incentives of your people and your actual business model.
Yeah. I like to tell people all the time too, I'm like, there's so much teaching you have to do to whatever AI that you use, because yeah, you can type in and say, for example, my role, hey, I need social copy to go out on LinkedIn for this thing. But there's so much teaching when you're inside of an organization that you have to do if you want to use it in the right ways of, hey, if we want to use it this way, we want to have this kind of tone, all these simple things. It kind of, you have to build it in the right way for it to be used, and you really have to lean on your partners inside, like you were saying as well, like who needs to be involved in these certain things to make sure that this is running the best way possible, so you can use it as a team and make sure you're getting the best product out of it. I've really learned that it takes a whole group of people to be able to get this the way that you truly want it to be, and to be a product that is fruitful for everybody to be able to use.
Yeah, and it's a great opportunity to where you're like actually empowering and investing in your organization, in your team, in your employees. Um, and AI is going to become ubiquitous across, all different types of applications in the tech stack. And the ones that will be the winners are the ones that are really thoughtful around how they integrate it into their company, into their culture, into their products, into their services, versus just like bolting it on. It has to be truly embedded, and that starts with how you're actually utilizing it to level up your team.
One of the other things that I appreciate and what you talk about is clarity. You use the word clarity a lot, but clarity can feel very abstract at the same time too, and different for a lot of people. When you're running a complex operation, what does clarity actually look like in kind of a day-to-day aspect?
Yeah, well, let's talk about like organizations that don't have clarity
Yeah.
first. Is like you kind of feel like it's this like chaotic, you're like chicken with your head cut off,
Yeah.
just like it's just
Running around in
you're
circles.
things are coming at you. Everything is damage control. There's not a lack of effort. It's people are trying to do the right thing, but it just folks aren't aligned. They're running different plays, and so that's unfortunately can it creates inconsistent experiences. You start to kind of decision making breaks down. A bunch of things start to break down. Clarity to me, excuse me, it really means your teams are able to show up calmer and more focused, and they agree on the problem, the priorities, the next action. They understand what the decisions are, the trade-offs are, what the resourcing is, and the technology that they choose to adopt or utilize or partner with, like Scala, is supposed to is supposed to help them kind of drive more clarity, focus, and insights on the right things versus just be another vendor, another tool that's kind of in their face, and just kind of noisy data that's being passed to them. And from an operator's perspective, you have to like folks need to understand, and truly like they are the unsung heroes. These are the folks that like I have so much admiration for. They're constantly juggling between like the cost of service and productivity and quality and CSAT, and they have their CEO and CFO down their neck that are talking about like utilize AI, less is more. And in the midst of all that, there's burnout and agent attrition, and there's just so much that's on these individuals. And so what we're trying to create is something that actually is, again, like a love story to them, to say, hey, like you got a lot going on. The platform and the product suite that we built is supposed to make your life easier. You're a world-class operator. All these different systems that you've had over the years, they fell short, and you deserve better. And so, hopefully that comes through with, like I said, confidence, clarity, insights, and the ability to take action with purpose.
I think it's so interesting once you do have that clarity, like you were just saying, like the decisions start becoming a little easier because you're like, the decision making is more spelled out. There are things that are just easier to see the fuller picture there. When you don't have that clarity, like you're saying, chicken with your head cut off, running around in circles, drinking out of the fire hose. It is very much that chaos aspect to it that leads people just down some
Yeah.
nutsos roads of
Yeah,
wasting
and
time.
your culture improves. You start to understand, you know why something is happening, not that it's just happening. You understand, there's like actually like accountability becomes more clear, to be honest with you, because you understand expectations of what you need to do and deliver. And so you run the business in a way it's just less chaotic. And contact centers are a really hard environment. There's a lot of moving parts. It's a very difficult role and function, and it's something that I have deep respect for. And what that's Scala is exists to really be that intelligent, bring the intelligence into how we think about your decision making. And I'm sure that you've heard things like this, but for us, like um, there's a lot of AI solutions out there, and like there's a lot of I would call point solutions, and they're delivering incremental automation or incremental value, but AI becomes transformational when you think about it as like a unified intelligence layer. And it's really surfacing up the right things to you, and it's delivering the opportunity to just focus on the right things, and make those high fidelity decisions like we talked about.
Yeah, and you mentioned accountability, and accountability is one of those other things that I think many leaders want accountability, but they don't know how to, they don't want to create fear or burnout or like, hey, you have to do this. How do you think clarity and accountability kind of work together in healthy organizations that, it creates that good culture. It is able to work and it's not like we've been talking about that chaos aspect of it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure we've all been there. Like, I think organizations that do really well and teams that do really well,
Yeah.
and that comes through in terms of just like the end user and the product and service is it all centers around trust. Um, and you can't have trust without like a true understanding of like, okay, guys, like, are we all aligned on what we're working on? Are we all tethered to the right KPIs, to the right objectives for our business? And are we supporting and helping each other? And that comes with like clear expectations, clear goals. Everybody feels valued and is working on the right things together, especially if you're investing in solutions and tools that are cutting edge, that's elevating folks, like Scala is. And that starts to, you then start to build this culture, that it can thrive versus like everybody's working really hard, but they're just like, it's disjointed, it's not connected. You start to do the blame game a little bit. And that's where there's a lack of clarity and a lack of, decision making that's connected to, where you're trying to actually move the business to. So yeah, I've been fortunate enough to where I've seen it work really well in my past life, where folks are all on the same team. You got the mission. Great. We need to improve the member experience, which we were a leader of, best in class. You need to scale this business, and it all centers around doing the right thing, for this individual and their healthcare journey. And so you rally around that, and you make decisions in a focused way. And for Scala, we took a lot of that we learned, um, and some of the things that were lessons learned that were challenges that we faced, and we applied it to how we could build something incredible for those kinds of operators.
Now, you're one of my favorite types of founders because you're a bootstrapped minded founder in a world that really celebrates the hype and headlines and all this stuff. How has the operator first mindset shaped the way you're building Scala?
Yeah, I appreciate that. So thank you. That's very kind of you. You've been very generous, even with the intro up top. Yeah, I don't mean to be controversial here. I'm not a tech bro. And so like I am. I am a technologist and an operator. We have an incredible, robust platform, with some of the most world-class, talented individuals, engineers. But the kind of spirit and ethos of who we are is, yeah, we are operator first mentality. We're operators building for operators. We are very intentional about not, chasing flashy features and hype cycles. Everything boils down to, are we actually solving business problems? Like, are we delivering real results? And when we approach these conversations with our customers, with the market, with prospects, the number one thing that they feel immediately is they know we speak their language. Like, we've been on the other side of the table. We know how their day is, what the day in the life of a business leader is, all the pressure they face, the magnitude of their role, and we know what types of decisions and what kind of support they need to come through from a technology that's really molded around what's needed. And so for me, Danielle, although we have like incredible technology, which we're really excited about, that's differentiated in terms of how we're thinking about our platform, it ultimately boils down to, are we moving the needle for our customers, these operators, and how are we tethered and mapped to their goals? Because what I'm not trying to do is just like, uh, sell them software and go away and like, hey, wish you the best. Hopefully it works for you.
Figure it out for
That's
yourself.
not, yeah, that's not how this is going to work. And so we've been very intentional around, success for us is success for these operators, making their lives easier, them having the ability to make better decisions, moving the needle that's tied to their corporate objectives or their KPIs. And that's how we avoid any of the hype cycle stuff. And that's how we kind of stand ourselves apart. Like, we're not building for demos and cool little flashy, capabilities. We're actually building for daily use, folks that can get real meaningful value out of our platform and our tools.
I love that. And I know the crew that you got with you is super hardworking and is aligned with that mission. And I want to hop in and just, ask the typical question about advice. But, a lot of leaders feel like today they're falling behind if, they're not doing something with AI. It's become so much part of our lives today now. What advice would you give to leaders who feel that pressure but don't want to make a reactive decision on, hey, do I go with this AI? Do I go with this AI? Or just in general, like, do I need it in general right now? Like, is it something that is absolutely needed for my business? Is it critical?
Yeah, so I'll answer. So the last question first
Yeah.
is, you definitely do. You need to modernize your approach and evolve as a business. Um, AI is incredibly promising, and has a lot to offer as a powerful tool. So I definitely don't think that you should resist things like this. With that being said, be very thoughtful around its application and the use of it. And the way you do that isn't going and just buying a bunch of stuff and creating this like, large vendor list. Your budget grows. You're not seeing the ROI. You're going to get frustrated. We've all seen the reports of, MIT and Gartner have come out and said that, something like 90+% of generative AI experiments are failing. Well, a lot of that is because, like I said, it's a tool. It's not going to magically solve all your business problems. And so where I would start is, I would actually start with narrowing the scope. Number one, understand your business. Like, forget the technology for a second. Like, what delivers value in your business? Break that down. Understand your supply chain. Every business has a level 1 to level 5 of complexity in some shape or form.
Yeah.
Every business has its own, call it opportunities. And so start small, partner up with cutting edge company like ours, that are going to truly map themselves to your goals. They're not just trying to sell you something and run away. And and so kind of have incremental wins and milestones and iteratively kind of get to this place that can be really transformational, and innovative for your company. That's not going to happen overnight, and there's nothing off the shelf that you're going to be able to like just purchase that's going to do that for you.
Yeah.
And so you have to be strategic with who you partner with. They have to understand your business, and they're not just selling you kind of technology. And more importantly, is this: nobody knows the business better than you. And so break it down, like be thoughtful around it, and be okay with challenging, you know, legacy, certain decisions you've made throughout your journey there. Like there's no sacred cows. Like things need to evolve. Um, but ideally, you're being really smart about the partner you bring on because they'll feel that and do that with you. Versus just kind of throw another thing your way that can actually create more noise and chaos.
I appreciate that partnership piece too, because I think the thing that we've been talking about is you want to make sure that you're leveling up everybody that's in your organization as well. You're leading with that. You're helping people become better at the same time. I think that carries through into that as well, and I think that's extremely important to have the right partner that'll come in and not like you were saying earlier, just like, hey, here's a piece of software, see you later. It's someone that's going to work with you throughout this whole entire process.
Yeah, what's been really frustrating, Danielle, is a lot of the technology that's out there is really powerful, incredible stuff. Like I said, there's a lot of point solutions. There's also just a lot of fatigue. It's overwhelming. Like you're looking at it all. These operators on a daily basis, their inboxes are just getting flooded with like, I can solve all your business problems, and here's buy this, and it's a lot. I think where you can get a lot of value is just like, okay, I want to solve this specific use case in my business, or I need to like start small, or I need better insights in my business. And I need to be thinking about kind of what's next and themes or signals. What platform or partner can help me do that. Or I need to drive some efficiency throughout my business without compromising the quality of my service. Who's really good at that? Ideally, they talk to us, we can help them, but um, it starts with like, what problem are you trying to solve? Keep it kind of small to start, and then build from there. Don't try to boil the ocean and think that overnight you're gonna all of a sudden be this like you know like you're gonna leapfrog and be adopting AI in its full kind of capacity.
Now, I do want to hit on you're building a company while also being, deeply invested in your family and your community. How has being a parent and a community leader shaped the way you think about leadership and responsibility?
Yeah, I love this question. Um, Danielle, as you know, I have three kids.
Yeah.
So I have a eight-year old, 6 and 4 year old, two daughters, and my son is the youngest. Um, One of the reasons why I actually like started this company, um, obviously with Raj Singh, who's our co-founder and our executive chairman, who I pinch myself every day that I get to actually like have my mentor,
Yeah. He should
alongside.
say that next time he's gonna just like punch you in the arm and be like, dude, shut up.
Yeah, he gets. I think I make him uncomfortable with how much I just like constantly
Well,
compliment him and thank him, and I'm very grateful for Raj. But one of the things that he and I talked about, um, I sat down with my wife and my three kids, and they have to be on board. It's important that they're like on board. It's a family decision, and not only were they all excited, but they just were like completely rooting for me. And one of the things that's like really important to me is, I need to practice what I preach at home. My wife and I are all about like, telling our kids. Take chances, take risks, be uncomfortable, challenge yourself. Like, failure isn't like there's actually a lot of beauty in it. Like it's okay. You learn so much. Um, and just get outside of your comfort
yeah.
zone. And it was this really cool moment where I'm like, all right, I get to like practice what I preach here. Like, they're gonna see their dad grind day in, day out and build something that's meaningful, and do something that's like truly, I feel like is like, I have this obsession around, which is solving these business problems.
Yeah.
And they know it's not going to be easy, and they get that, like they're going to see through all of that, and be involved along the way. And so it's like, it's this beautiful thing that they get to be a part of,
Yeah.
that I think is really important to just like show that. And obviously my wife is incredible, and she was very much like, "Hey, you got to go do this. This is, a really unique opportunity." And then, so from a parenting perspective, like, yeah, it has to be aligned. You have to be able to actually, it has to make sense. It can't be like one or the other. It has to be very much integrated, especially if you're building something from scratch. Um, and then this community, like I think of the Pacific Northwest, like I have deep roots here.
Yeah.
I've grown up here. Um, Technology is obviously yeah, it's the kind of the mecca of technology, along with obviously San Francisco um and New York and other places. And so it's incredible. Like it's an awesome opportunity to where I get to work with individuals in a community to build something special. And these are things that are just they energize me. Like I don't these things aren't in any way like, oh my God, like this is hard to prioritize and juggle. Like it's very much it's they work together, if anything.
Yeah. I think it's so interesting. You learn so much. I've grown up and I've watched failure happen. I've watched these things happen, and you all the time you have this instinct in you that you want to be the best, you want to be perfect, you want to be all these things. But when you think about that failure is what teaches you the things the most. That's what kind of builds character, and that's the things that I've come to appreciate as I've gotten older and a business owner and so many different facets of my life. Those are the things that you take away from your parents as well, is that they're not perfect. Those are the things that you really watched as you were growing up, that you thought they were a perfect parent, but as you get older you're like, we fail, we all fail, we all, as we're learning and we see them as leaders, we learn so much from them and those failures. And I think it's important to be able to see that from no matter what the age is. And I think it's fantastic that your kids are getting to watch you do this and build something that's just spectacular.
Well, I appreciate that. Well, you said it well, and I have actually, I've learned a ton from your dad as well. So it's pretty cool that I've been very fortunate, Danielle. I've had like some of the most incredible people around me. I don't think it's just a saying. Like I truly am in the room with people that are much smarter than I am. And that's the only thing I've been good at is like selecting those rooms and knowing that I'm like, okay, there's everyone in this room is smarter than me. This is such a unique opportunity for me to just download, absorb these things. And that's still the same here at Scala. The individuals that we have are world class. I mean, I cannot believe the talent we have and the mission we have, which is tied to really driving, something exceptional and meaningful for operators.
Artie, I want to close it out with this. When you think about operators who are listening to this, leaders who, are feeling overwhelmed, stretched thin, unsure what to trust these days around AI, what's one mindset shift that could help them regain control?
Number one, if you're an operator and you got a lot going on, like and you're trying to think about be strategic around your business and what's next and how to well, number one, Scala could help. So ping me, like reach out to us.
Reach out to
Um,
Artie.
yeah, reach out to myself. But yeah, it's a good question, Danielle. Like I would say it's tough right now. Like there's so much coming at you. And so you just got to stay focused and trust your instincts. There's no incompetence on your end,
Yeah.
but just really that kind of understand what you're looking for, what you're trying to move in the business. And I would say if anything at this moment, like there's so much in the marketplace and so much hype and so much going on to where I would just kind of make sure that you have an understanding of a filtering mechanism of like, okay, start with what's right for your business, what you're trying to move for your business, look for partners that are going to help you do that. And think less about, just like AI this and, all the hypey stuff that's out there. Just, stay firm on what are the things that you need to do. What kind of partners do you need that can help you alongside and achieve those goals? But I would just say, but also like have an appetite to take some chances and risks.
Yeah.
And, you got to evolve your thinking. You do have to lean in. but be thoughtful around it. And truly, like I'm not joking. Like ping us. Scala can help, especially if you're an operator that's weighing out all these different decisions around how you want to take your business to the next level, from a operations, intelligent operations, and customer experience standpoint. This is why we built the business.
Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Ardie Sameti, I can't thank you enough for joining me today and sitting down and letting me dive into everything that you're building with Scala, your mind and your mindset. I appreciate it.
Oh, thank you, Danielle. This was a pleasure.
Yeah. You guys, I'm going to have Scala linked down below as well as Ardie's information. Please go give them a follow on social. Keep up to date with everything they're doing. And as always, I will see you guys back here next time. Bye, y'all.